Matnoor has been a king for over 8 years. One of the longest reigns of any alpha in Singapore. He rules over the street troop, a large family of 34 long-tailed macaques. Their territory is one of the richest on the island. Matnoor is known as a laid-back kind of leader, but he doesn't welcome visitors to his land. Lokai is the newest alpha around here. He's the boss of the Hill Troop, a small family of around 20. Most of them females and youngsters who are gradually getting used to Lokai being top dog. Their old alpha, Arav, still hangs around the troop. He's no threat to Lokai these days, so is allowed to stay. Lokai has been in charge for just over a month, and during this time, he's made some drastic changes to the Hill Troop's lives. The biggest one, leading them out of the forest into Matnoor's idyllic home. Surprisingly, Matnoor seemed to have moved out, so Lokai moved his new family in. Life is very good here. Or it was, until a few minutes ago. Matnoor is home. Macaques have excellent eyesight. The two alphas spot each other immediately. Lokai, as the trespasser, must make a fast decision. Fight or flee. He chooses to confront Matnoor. But he's going into battle alone. His two aging henchmen hang back with the females. They seem scared of the other, much larger troop. Matnoor, on the other hand, is joined by his top henchman, Ajit, a ruthless fighter. Lokai realizes he's made the wrong decision. Outnumbered, he calls for his family to bolt for the trees. But it's too late. They can't get away quick enough. When rival macaque troops clash, it's the adult males that do most of the fighting. But in this skirmish, the Hill Troop females and kids are caught in the crossfire. As the last of Lokai's family escape into the forest, Matnoor calls for his family to pull back and gather around him. Not a single member of his troop are injured. But Matnoor wasn't the hero of the battle. It was Ajit, his right-hand henchman, who did most of the fighting. At 15 years old, Ajit is considerably younger than his leader. He's been loyal to Matnoor for years. But perhaps the king is getting too old for the top job. The street troop and the hill troop both live in Singapore, in the middle of the island. Their territories are right next to each other, but their homes couldn't be more different. The hill troops is mostly thick jungle. Which they share with some deadly neighbors. It's been a few weeks since the hill troop were last here in their forest. Sadly, it's not a joyful homecoming. The troop are in shock. Ajit and Matnoor's other henchmen were brutal. Judith, the highest-ranked female, has a nasty head wound. Comforting her is the least that Lokai can do. He should have given the command to flee sooner. And he should never have tried to challenge the street troop males. His inexperience as a leader has cost the family dearly. It's not just Judith paying the price. This young female can barely move her arm, and if she can't climb, she can't forage for food. It's a life-threatening injury. It would be better if she let Lokai tend to her, but she seems to want to keep to herself. Below, on the forest floor, the youngest member of the hill troop has paid the ultimate price for Lokai's misjudgment. The mom struggles to comprehend that her baby has passed away. She still feels a strong connection to him, and she grooms him as if he is still alive. She carries him gently back up into the trees. It could take her days to accept that he will never wake up. Lokai seems subdued, dejected. He was simply trying to create a better life for his new family when he led them into Matnoor's territory. He never thought he would end up with blood on his hands, and with so many of them traumatized. Even old Arav, who a few weeks ago was desperate to rejoin the troop, has disappeared. Over in street troop territory, the mood couldn't be more different. Matnoor's family celebrate their homecoming with a victory feast. The sisterhood tuck into the best plums at hand. As the highest-ranked ladies, they're used to getting the pick of the banquet. While the lowly, like Sarah, make do with the leftovers. Sarah's son Max isn't quite ready to join in on the buffet. He's only 5 weeks old, the youngest member of the troop, and isn't eating solids yet. But now that Max has made it through the first vulnerable weeks of life, Sarah lets him leave the safety of her arms to explore a little. Like all long-tailed macaques, Max is born with the ability to grip and hold on tight. So climbing this comes naturally to him. Max is just one of the many children Matnoor has fathered during his long reign. With every new baby born, Matnoor seems to grow into a more laid-back dad. After all, he's got the system working perfectly for him. Raising the babies is the female's job. He only becomes a hands-on dad when the kids are bigger and ready for play-fighting lessons. Max is far too small to join in on the rough and tumble. But he appears to want to start lessons with Dad anyway. Matnoor swiftly sends him on his way. But Max seems to have inherited his dad's physical strength and willful personality. Despite being dwarfed by the Great King, Max isn't backing down. Sarah steps in. Now is not the time for her willful son to meet his father. With Max at a more appropriate distance, Matnoor moves on to enjoy one of the perks of his alpha status: being pampered. As the top dog here, Matnoor is guaranteed to always get VIP treatment. Grooming is a way for a macaque to show loyalty and win favors. Everyone in the family wants to get their hands on their leader. After all, he dictates just about everything that happens within the troop. Getting on his good side can make life easier. Matnoor happily lets them compete to fuss over him. Being groomed feels a little like a massage. An excellent way to relax after this morning's battle. Ajit, the hero of the fight, also soaks up some pampering. As a reward for his loyalty, Matnoor sometimes allows him to father kids. But he's rarely allowed to do so with a high-status lady like this. Matnoor notices that Ajit is with the high-ranked female. Ajit seems to know he shouldn't be doing this, but he doesn't move on. Matnoor lets him continue, just this once. It's too hot for a fight. The island of Singapore lies just north of the equator. It's always hot here. But this year, the dry season is breaking records. Today, the mercury hits 37 degrees. It's hotter than it's been in decades. Despite the heat wave, on the edge of the forest, in the street troops' territory, the bigger primates are out and about. Matnoor has a little more sense. He's led his family into the slightly cooler jungle. In this intense heat, it's best to find a shady spot high up, where there is a chance of catching a breeze. This new mom does her best to keep her 3-day-old baby hydrated and cool. With the arrival of a new half-sibling, Max is no longer the baby of the troop. He's graduated to toddler status, and in true toddler fashion, throws his first tantrum. In this intense heat, he doesn't want to be held close by Mom. Sarah isn't letting him roam around at this height. His climbing skills aren't that developed yet. He could easily fall. The rest of the troop would like to nap, but Max's outburst is making that impossible to do. Sarah's essentially a single mom, which is a tough gig, especially when your baby is annoying everyone. Max is now really pushing the troop's tolerance. Sarah knows she needs to get him under control. If Max keeps up this unsociable behavior, he will most likely end up receiving a smack from one of the sisterhood. That could send him tumbling. Sarah hustles her grumpy toddler out of harm's way. It's been a couple of weeks since the hill troop were viciously attacked by Matnoor's henchmen. The family are gradually recovering and getting used to life back in the jungle. The young female with the life-threatening injury is miraculously on the mend. With any luck, she'll regain full use of her arm. Below her on the forest floor is Arav, back to live amongst the family he once ruled. Close by is old Judith. Her wound is healing well, and she seems happy home in the forest. The place she has spent nearly all of her 21 years. Lokai keeps to himself this morning. He appears to be mulling over his next move. So far, his gung-ho approach to leadership hasn't worked out. Perhaps he just needs to take some time to figure out how to be an alpha around here. Maybe the first thing he needs to do is stop longing for other territory and instead learn about what he has right in front of him. After all, the females have lived in this forest for years. They know how to survive here, no matter what the weather or season. At the moment, nuts and seeds are plentiful. The troop fill their bellies. But unlike fruit, this meal has little moisture. Eating nuts is thirsty work. Not to worry, the hill troop have a secret source of fresh water. Tree hollows, scattered throughout the canopy, capture and hold rainwater. Over the years, the family have mapped out where all the tree cups are in their patch of the forest. When it hasn't rained for days, this water source is their backup. The females, who stay in the troop for life, teach their kids where the hollows are. Now they're sharing this knowledge with Lokai. Like all long-tailed macaques, he's a fast learner, and he soon works out that he simply needs to copy everyone else and use his fingers as a scoop to have a drink. After weeks of making questionable decisions for his family, Lokai is earning his place and coming to realize a good alpha can learn as he leads. The street troop wake up early to avoid the hottest part of the day. It's a safer time for the kids to play and make sure they don't overheat. Playtime is crucial for a young macaque to develop social skills. These are the 2 to 3-year-old teenage boys. In just a few years, they'll be fully grown and will be forced to leave home. They'll head off to explore new territory and try to become an alpha. Very few will succeed. There's simply not enough space or females for them all to become kings. Most will have to settle for being a henchman or a lifelong bachelor. Max, who is now 2 months old, is a long way off from thinking about his future. At this age, it's all about making friends and having a bit of fun together. Now that he's gotten over his tantrum stage, he's learning how to interact with other macaques. This youngster is his older half-brother, and the bond they're building could last a lifetime. There are other siblings to get to know as well. As Max gets older, his ability to build alliances and foster loyalty will be crucial. A male with well-developed social skills has a better chance of becoming an alpha. Matnoor has always excelled at monkey politics. He learned long ago how to keep his troop happy. In this kind of weather, the family want nothing more than to cool down. Matnoor knows just the spot. On the edge of the forest, the street troop have their own secret source of water. These channels form a part of Singapore's extensive drainage system. Matnoor brings the troop here when it gets unbearably hot. Sarah, with baby Max on board, goes first. For once, her low ranking doesn't hold her back. There's no limit to this flowing water, so she can drink as much as she likes. One by one, the rest of the troop head down to get their fill. Once everyone has quenched their thirst, the older teenage boys move in. For them, this is much more than a drinking hole. It's Fight Club. It may look a little rough, but it's the best way to hone their combat skills. A potential alpha needs to be an excellent fighter. Matnoor usually runs this class. But today, he hangs back. The weeks of intense heat have finally caught up with him. All he seems capable of doing right now is resting. Matnoor is 20 years old. Most long-tailed macaques don't live much longer than this. He's held power for the last 8 years, but ruling a large troop takes its toll. Alphas usually only last half the time he has. They inevitably get ousted by a younger, fitter male who can arrive from the outside or rise up from within. 100 meters away, Ajit ignores his leader. By spending more time with this high-ranked female, he sends a message to Matnoor. I want what you have. A few months ago, Matnoor would have reprimanded Ajit for this second transgression. But once again, he lets it slide. It appears that the old king has no fight left in him. By not retaliating, Matnoor has revealed to Ajit just how weak he is. It doesn't take long for the rest of the family to notice the shift in dynamics. The street troop females are used to having a strong alpha who can protect them. Ajit has proven he is an excellent fighter. Matnoor's reign could be about to end. In the hill troop's jungle home, Lokai leads his family out to forage for lunch. It didn't take him long to learn from the females about the huge variety of food in this part of the forest. It's not like dining in Matnoor's home. Here, the fruit grows far and wide. Finding enough to feed everyone means they must cover a lot of ground. Navigating the gaps in the canopy takes skill and causes quite a ruckus. The commotion attracts a very distinctive forest neighbor, the racket-tailed drongo, one of the smartest birds in the country. This one has figured out that sticking close to the hill troop equals an easier meal. Small critters are hard to spot in the thick vegetation, unless they're disturbed. Following the macaques as they move around pays off in just a few minutes. For the hill troop, there's no advantage, but they seem to tolerate this one-sided relationship. Below, on a forest hiking path, Lokai looks very much at home. He also, finally, looks like an alpha. This is how a leader should be treated. Yasmin is one of the highest-ranked ladies in the troop. Having her support is a good sign for Lokai. These past few weeks have been a tough time for him. He's had to combine leadership with learning. But he finally seems to be doing everything right. Long-tailed macaques always aim to be in bed before dark. Up high, away from predators, is the best place to rest. Just like humans, they usually sleep through the night. But back in the street troops' territory, the family are still awake. Strangely, Matnoor hasn't led them up to bed yet. He seems distracted. Flying insects attracted to the lights in Matnoor's territory have just emerged en masse. Bugs are a treat for a macaque. Bite-sized protein snacks, if they can catch them. The teenagers try their luck, but they quickly turn what should have been a feast into a game. Sarah keeps a firm hold on curious Max. He may be growing up fast, but he's not ready for this. Keeping the troop up late for a midnight snack could be Matnoor's way of reminding his family that the old king still has a few tricks up his sleeve. The kids, at least, seem impressed by this nighttime adventure. But it would be unwise to keep them up too late. Matnoor does a head count. Someone is missing. Under the cover of darkness, Ajit is with the high-ranked female. This time, Matnoor takes action. Faced with a raging alpha out for his blood, Ajit flees. The street troop have stayed up all night. Matnoor is on the warpath. The sight of Ajit taking the next step with one of his high-ranked females breathed new life into the old king. Matnoor is now prepared to fight Ajit. But he can't find him anywhere around the streets. If Ajit comes back, Matnoor will be ready. Their long alliance has officially come to an end. In the cool of the morning, Matnoor leads the street troop out for breakfast. The family haven't seen hair nor tail of Ajit since that fateful night. Matnoor is once again the undisputed king. And today, he's got a treat in store for his loyal subjects. Once a year, Matnoor leads his family deeper into the forest. It's a journey that takes them through some of the most important wilderness in Singapore. This part of the jungle is home to much of the island's wildlife, who have all carved out a niche within this multi-layered world. On the forest floor, huge wild boar and tiny mouse deer forage for fallen fruits and nuts. They are the ground dwellers. Above them, the cold-blooded residents warm up in the filtered sun. Higher up, a Malayan colugo tries to sleep. These creatures, around the size of a cat, are nocturnal. At night, they glide between the trees, foraging for fresh leaves. But by day, they disappear, blending in. The street troop pass by, oblivious to their presence. Matnoor is very focused. They're nearly there. One of the world's most unique fruits is in season: durian. Around the size of a melon and covered in spikes, they emit a very distinctive smell. A sweet aroma that Matnoor can't resist. Breaking one open to get to the custard-like fruit inside is a little tricky. The skin is over 5 centimeters thick. A challenge, even for the male's large canines. A few hundred years ago, all the long-tailed macaques in Singapore were forest dwellers. But as houses and gardens were built increasingly close to their jungle, the macaques emerged to take advantage of easier food options. Their remarkable ability to adapt caused problems. In many parts of Southeast Asia, macaques are seen as pests. With forests disappearing and nowhere to go, they're being culled. Today, the species is globally endangered. But here in Singapore, their numbers are stable. The bigger primates make an effort to conserve their jungle and live side by side with them, so that families like the street troop can thrive. Max is now 6 months old and is eating solids. This is his first taste of durian. Protected by law, Max will hopefully live a long life here in Singapore. It won't always be easy. He'll have to deal with complex monkey politics and life on the edge of the city. But for today, he gets to enjoy playtime in the jungle. His mom, Sarah, is still one of the lowest ranked females in the family. Her status will never change. But against the odds, she's raised Max through the first vulnerable months of his life. With any luck, her son will one day rise up to be a king, just like his father. Deeper in the forest, Lokai leads his family out to feed. In just a few short months, Lokai has mastered the art of living in his jungle home. Even old Judith seems content under his rule. Yasmin, the high-ranked female, is heavily pregnant. Everything Lokai ever wanted has come to fruition. But Lokai is a little uneasy today. He senses someone is in his patch of the forest. And he is right. A roaming male has just arrived into his territory. Ajit, the seasoned warrior, is looking for a new troop to take over. Lokai has won his right to be an alpha. But his battle to hold on to his position has just begun.